Heyo!
What's up,
Welcome to the
Internet?
patch.
Yeah, brought to you today by Nature Box and Trunk Club.
Which I'm eating. The Trunk Club.
Flip. There we go.
Hey,
we're on
nice
top of it.
work,
Yeah,
Ryan.
I've done a really good job. I've remembered it the past several times. I even remembered the sponsors. It's about 50-50 with me.
So proud of you.
Sometimes I just, oh, right.
They
brought
grow
you,
up so fast.
20 minutes later, brought to you by Nature Box and Trunk Club.
I've never seen you flip it.
Well, I think one time flat out just forgot to announce the sponsors
Fired.
at the beginning. Oh, well, thankfully, I had to beg on my knees in abject contrition.
Like you do.
I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest, I don't think you had to. I think someone just really enjoyed making you.
Yeah.
That's also possibly
It's
true.
just, we
yeah.
have a whole series that's called Free Play. We just don't have to do anything.
Well, welcome to the Patch, where we talk about sometimes video game stuff. Maybe today we'll do that. We'll see.
Yeah.
Hit or miss, really.
No, I definitely want today to talk about Firewatch, but I think we should probably save it to the end. 'cause
You want to
it's-
do spoilerish stuff.
Well, it's difficult to discuss a game like Firewatch without referring to the ending.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe we'll save it a little bit so people who are particularly spoiler conscious can bug off.
I mean, there's a couple things we can talk about. Though I guess it would be better to just talk about it all in one.
Yeah, we'll talk about
in
it
the
all at
same
once.
go.
Just get it all wrapped up together in a nice little package.
Well, why don't we start off with Far Cry Primal, because
Yeah.
you've been playing that.
We just put up a Let's Play in that. It was me and Michael killing lots of animals.
Did you kill a mammoth?
Were they
Well, you
saber-toothed?
have to. You start off killing a mammoth. I mean,
Well, because it's a mammoth hunt, and then
They
your
really
whole
take you
tribe
down a
gets wiped
notch.
out, right?
pretty much, yeah. You start with killing a mammoth, and after that's like, all right, let's learn to club some rats.
Oh, so
Like-
you take it big and then you come back down.
Well,
It's how did we get here?
Everybody dies in your. Well, that's not really a spoiler. That's like the first 12 seconds of the game.
That's the premise. That's what
Really
they
is,
opened
yeah.
with when they announced the game.
He's like,
you're-
here, take
you're
my
a dude.
necklace and go to the land of Oreos.
Oh, is that what an Oreolization is?
Oh,
Tying it into all the stuff today.
there you go. Or Oros is actually where you're supposed to go. But yeah, so I gotta say, initially I was a little concerned that, and I guess in all fairness, like that video was a sponsored video. This conversation is not. So I was concerned that
Thank you for your transparency, Ryan.
I don't even know how that works anymore. But that was a sponsored video. I'm not under any obligation to them at this point. I don't
You
think.
can shit all over it if you want.
Right. Before you tell me, it looks like you're lactating. Could you move your hands? Just this hand right here.
It's what? Because it was.
It
just
it was just Coke on you, but
Did
it
I?
looks a
It's
little,
a little nipple
right
splash.
there. You've like straightened it out.
Oh,
Right here.
let me put it back up. There we go. Let me make sure I got
You
it.
gave me a
We're
little-
good. We got it.
We've like learned each other's little facial expressions, and you gave me a little face, and I laughed at you, and I felt like I owed you the explanation.
Oh, thank
Please
you.
now tell us about Far Cry Primal.
I was a little dubious of the. Now, in fairness, too, I haven't gotten far enough in the game where like the meat of the game is being able to summon animals and like send them after people. But I was initially very concerned about the lack of.
Like summon them magically
Weapons?
or tame them.
I think you can kind of tame them. And again, I haven't gotten that far in the game, but you can somehow subjugate them to your will.
Okay.
And send them after people. They become in effect a weapon that you can use.
Okay, just making sure we're talking about like actual physical animals and not some sort of like shaman mystical ghost animal summoning.
They're actual animals, but the summoning part
Yeah.
seems to be some sort of
There's
mystical
still some shamanism
something.
to it.
Yeah.
But just in the part that I played thus far, which is we've got maybe an hour in, the lack of, like different gun types hasn't bothered me yet. So the reliance on melee and like a bow is honestly one of those weapons that I just like using anyway. Even I think I did most of my Far Cry 3 and 4 playthroughs with the bow anyway. So it didn't really put me off that much. Though I did love a good silent sniper rifle from 2 or 3 hills away.
Yeah,
Who wouldn't?
I'm a big
Right?
fan of bows in general. Like if there is a game and it's got a bow and arrow in it, I'm probably using it, even if my other option is a machine gun.
I don't understand either of you because a shotgun is clearly the answer to all
It's
of gaming.
loud.
It's
Everyone
great.
in the neighborhood hears
Oh
you.
no, people hear me. It's a video game. I'm killing them all.
Okay, look, I like to go in stealthy.
Shotguns
sure
are
you
great.
I want the last guy to die not knowing everyone else in his little team
I'm
is dead.
perfectly fine
I'm
with
with Ryan
shooting
here.
somebody
Yeah.
and then them being like, "What the hell?" and be like, "Poof, poof." It doesn't matter if they come at me. I have a fucking shotgun.
I
They've
do.
got
if-
shotguns.
Look, I enjoy shotguns a great deal, but they also mean that my stealth has failed.
That's true. Shotguns have a time and place.
I'm way too impatient for stealthy games. Hitman, let me just take his clothes, kick somebody out a door.
Oh, Hitman is great. We just did the Hitman beta
I know, I
too. That
saw
one
him.
not sponsored, but I like to
I
keep
watched it.
being clarifying on that. Well, let me talk about Primal for one more minute, and then we'll talk about. So, I mean, thus far in the game, it's very reminiscent of any of the other Far Cries, though. And it's extremely gory, as you can see. They're not really holding any, pulling any punches on the
Can
people
you-
chopped up and eaten, and there's someone's
Ew.
intestines.
Can
and-
you affect that though? Like if that person shot him in the back, would it make like a new wound, or would it just be like?
Well, I
just
put
do
an
it
arrow
with
in one
arrow or
guy's
something.
eye, and it pretty well stuck out of there, so...
But it's just the arrow out. It's not like a damage.
I mean, I didn't really get in close to
Skin.
see if it had, like, a ruptured eyeball under there. It was kind of just a bloody mess. I'm sure you can probably cut limbs off.
Yeah.
I mean, with that many melee weapons in play, you...
But I'm saying, is it gonna bleed, or am I just gonna get a limb?
Oh, there was some gore.
I see the
there was
blood
some
there,
wet on
but
the
that's
floor.
like pre-rendered.
No, there was some post-killing wet on
Oh,
the floor.
good.
There were
good.
some puddles left from what I did. My actions had consequence.
I feel good about that then.
I watered the grass. Let's just say it that way. But again, I really need to play more before I have a better opinion of it. So I am looking forward to it, though. But I enjoyed 3 and 4. 3 clearly had the better story, but 4 still was a very enjoyable game.
Well, but I look at Far Cry Primal as another Blood Dragon, essentially, where it's not one of the numbered entries in the series. So my hope would be that it would do stuff that's a little bit more crazy, that takes itself a little bit less seriously. I mean, Far Cry in general is pretty aware of what it is, so it is okay going over the top. But I really liked how silly Blood Dragon was. And I'm very curious to see what the tone of this ends up being. Because while it felt like they were going out into that sort of experimental territory with being prehistoric, it seemed like it's much more serious in tone.
It
Do you get
definitely
that?
did not have I haven't seen a moment yet in the game where I was like, that's kind of funny. No, it's just like, oh, everyone that I know is dead. All right, let me go find this land. Oh, here's a woman being attacked. Oh, look, there's some cannibals. I mean,
Well,
it
it seems very lighthearted.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
all of
it's really a feel-good game.
But Blood Dragon was DLC, right? Was it?
It was.
Yeah.
It started
wasn't-
off
Well,
as
it's
DLC.
standalone.
It was apparently just an experiment that one of the developers was doing, and then someone saw it, went, "This is amazing." They turned it into DLC, but it was always sort of a standalone DLC, in
Yeah,
that it's its
absolutely.
own campaign and everything.
think
And so
you
then
don't-
they went ahead and released it standalone.
I don't think you have to own Far Cry to,
Not anymore.
to buy Blood Dragon. And you're right, Blood Dragon really, it was one of those things where playing that game, it was funny because it delivered on everything I expected from the trope just the second I thought about it. Even to the point where I was like, this is such an 80s action movie. Why haven't I had sex with someone yet? And then sex scene, like right after that.
I
Yep.
love when things do that. I felt like
I
that
love it when
in
a plan comes together.
Yes. I felt like that in Deadpool. We won't
Really?
spoil these, but I felt like a lot of things like, oh, I bet this. Oh, there it is. Like as soon as you'd be like, oh, I hope this happens, there, and it would happen.
The only
Yeah.
thing I would say about Deadpool is I was surprised how much of they did give it just that Hollywood like love story twist
It
that I
was a
wasn't
Valentine's
expecting.
Day release.
It was.
Well, it was a Valentine's weekend release. I actually got very confused by that marketing early on for Deadpool because I saw and had the giggle about their romantic movie marketing that they did, where they put out the posters and the love never dies and all that stuff, and it all said Valentine's Day, and I kept getting confused. Like, are they releasing the movie on Sunday? They're gonna lose out on so many tickets. They're gonna look bad at the box office. and
Boy,
it turns
didn't
out
they.
that no, they did not at all. So I just got really confused, thinking that they would give up all of their box office numbers for the joke.
Yeah.
And they didn't. Instead, they just broke all of the records and are laughing all the way to the bank.
Yes.
The joke's on us.
I've read a fair amount of Deadpool. Like I wouldn't say I'd read all of it, but that was kind of weird to me because, with the exception of I haven't read a lot of the newer stuff, and I think he's now married to like a god of death or something. But in the previous stuff, so much of his character seemed driven by sort of like a loneliness. Like you could see his motivations in reaching out to other people because he was by himself and felt so isolated. Around all the joking, like that was the humanizing part of Deadpool.
But
so
I think
having a permanent love interest.
Well, look,
is-
But I think in the movie though, he also feels he thinks like he's never coming back to this lady.
He does.
Right?
And I don't want to go ahead and doom Morena or whatever, but if we
Vanessa?
get this Deadpool 2, Vanessa, no, but yeah, sorry, the actress Morena.
actress's
Oh, okay.
name, yeah.
I'm still in love with her from Firefly. Girl looks amazing.
She
hot.
does.
So I don't want to doom her or anything because I like her, but Deadpool 2, she's got to be gone, right?
She's a mutant on her own though, and they didn't cover that in this movie.
What?
She's copycat.
Really?
Yeah, isn't she? Double check that. I'm pretty sure.
I don't
It's been
know.
a while since the Resident Evil, but I will Google it. I'm pretty sure she is, in fact, a mutant in her own right, and they didn't cover that at all in this movie.
Anyway, that's your movie minute on
Sorry.
the patch.
I'm just gonna look up those
It's culturally
Deadpool things.
relevant.
How did we
Yeah.
get here?
My
We got here
friend
from
wrote
Far Cry
Deadpool
Primal
for a
somehow.
while, and if I get it wrong, I feel like he's gonna write me like an angry tweet to be like, "You failed
Should I
me."
start checking Twitter and see if there's like a hate mail from
Jerry,
you?
I'm sorry. Copycat Deadpool.
So we got here from Far Cry Primal somehow.
Right.
How did we do
We're
that?
talking about the tropes of like how
Yeah, we
Yes.
got
Blood
to talk about
Dragon.
tropes
Oh, it was
and
Blood Dragon, yeah.
expectations.
it is indeed copycat. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, great.
So no, I think I am cautiously optimistic. I think Primal could actually come out pretty enjoyable if you like that sort of game, which I do, obviously. So take that with your grain of salt.
Right.
Take it with your grain of salt. Take
With
all the other
a-
things.
You can't take it with my grain of salt. Fuck off. It's mine.
It's my grain. Take it with your grain of salt.
Go get your own grain of
Get
salt.
away from mine.
Well, we're talking about video game stuff. One of the biggest things this week is probably they have finally outlined Fallout 4 DLC.
Oh yeah.
And they also they announced that they will be increasing the price of the season pass.
Right, from 30 to 50, right? Because they announced also, not only did they announce the DLCs, but they announced the projected prices for them. So it was like 10, 10, and 30.
It's I think
5,
it's like
10, and 25.
There we go.
Was it 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Asses.
Yeah, one of the
5,
smaller
10, and
ones is
25.
like 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they add like one thing. I think is that the one where they add robots to it?
Yeah, it's Automatron
Yes.
is 10, then Wasteland is 5, and then Far Harbor is 25.
Got it.
There were a lot of people from that area of the country, by the way, telling me that if we call it anything, it has to be Fahaba.
Fahaba.
It's Fahaba.
Yeah, well, that one's 25 right there.
Far Harbor's the only one of those that really kind of catches
Far
my eye.
Harbor's
to be
the only one
honest.
that's like, hey, you get to explore new space and get new missions.
Well, that's the one that's going to be at scale. Like the other ones feel like DLCs. They feel like something that, CD Projekt Red would have put in one of their 16 bits of free DLC because, here's a little free stuff. And then this is expansion level.
Right.
Far Harbor is adding a new landmass. It's supposed to be the biggest they've ever done. And some of the landmasses they've added in previous games have been big.
Well,
Shivering Isles was big.
yeah, but at the same time, this was allegedly one of their bigger maps, and still doesn't feel like it. The Far
mean
Cry
the-
4 map is
the
not.
shipped Far Cry 4 map. I mean,
Uh,
Fallout
yes.
4. You said Far Cry also.
Did I?
I think so. Replay it. Did you say Far Cry?
Fallout 4. The Fallout 4 map
Yes.
did not feel like the biggest map they'd ever done. I
Hey, you can
swear
sprint
they
across
made
it in
some
11
allegations
minutes.
that it was.
Or whatever it was that people were all fucking
Yeah.
pissed off about.
And I think they justified it with the interior landmass
Right, you could
was
go in any building.
that
and
too, yeah.
Everything was built up.
not
as
all of
opposed
them
to
though.
out.
There were a lot of buildings you could not enter.
How would you like to have the job of going like each house, measuring the interior, and then adding all of that up to the actual size of the landmass that's playable? That sounds miserable.
You
Sounds
would
like
think-
an intern job for.
It does sound like an intern job. Or they
Internet
probably should have a
professor.
button that's like how much floor space.
Oh, that's probably true.
Because it's a digital world.
So what you're saying is that the computers are taking our jobs.
They're taking interns. Jobs.
AI, we're going to put us all out of our jobs by the next, 20 years, something like that?
Do you think we'll introduce things like basic income before that happens? Like if
Basic
no one
income.
can, if most people can't work because the robots do all the work, then theoretically we have to have some sort of basic income. Look, we're deviating a lot from video games here, but I think our future is important to talk about.
I said
If
50-50.
the robots take the jobs, I think we need some basic income. There's actually a country in Europe that's introducing basic income regardless. So everyone in the
That
country
sounds like
is
one of those. It
paid
sounds like
from-
one of those Scandinavian country
is.
things to
Yeah,
do. The
I'm
ones
sure
that are
it's
like,
a Norway
super
or a-
progressive.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's the place that I wish I could live, but
Yeah.
I don't.
But you weren't born there, eh?
No, why are we
I was
going Canadian?
because
eh?
Canadian has they have like free healthcare.
They do.
Canada is practically Scandinavian.
Thank you. I think so
sure.
too.
I mean, the one little boat. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you get the
boat hip?
Hip.
Is that what you said?
Well, the hip.
Look, I'm
boat
going to
hip?
warn everybody. Today, I usually can't talk. Today, I really can't talk. I don't know what happened to me last night, but my brain is gone.
It's what happened when what we filmed today. I think
You
this
think you
morning.
broke me?
I think so. We ran 4-4. We were nope. I'm done. Thank you
It's
very much.
spreading.
So I think we can say with some certainty that whatever it was occurred both. To
Yeah,
both of
yeah,
you today.
no, we
It
both
happened.
did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We were both there for it. The
Yeah, that's
disease
true.
started there.
Patient zeros.
But yeah, of the other two, like so the ability to build robots that follow you around. That's actually, there's been some mods for the PC version that already sort of introduced that idea. So, and even that didn't really titillate me that much. I wasn't too
you
interested.
weren't titillated.
It didn't titillate me.
You
I didn't
didn't like
install it. And as much as my Achievement Hunter persona would seem to indicate I would enjoy the ability to trap and fight animals, in Fallout 4 it doesn't really appeal to me.
No cockfight for you?
I don't really care.
You're all about the cockfights.
I just don't care in Fallout 4.
Interesting.
I've
no
wandered
death
the
claw,
waste.
Cockfight, cluck, cluck, cluck.
Cluck fight.
Yeah.
It's a cluck off!
You better watch
It's
that
actual
one.
chickens.
They just turn around and fire eggs at each other. As much as I've just wandered the wastes of Fallout 4 so much that I have no particular desire. That'll be great DLC to play 5 years from now where I'm like, I'm going to do Fallout 4 again and go through the entire game start to finish because I've forgotten about it enough that I can do that. But right now, I don't want to go back in there. I don't want to go protect the settlement from the bandits again, guy. All right? Leave me alone about it.
I think it is very smart of them to, first of all, they're driving a lot of season pass purchases this way by saying, we're going to raise the price. You can still get it for the old price for now. But if you don't get it now, then you're going to be paying more. And a lot of people will just say, oh, well, I don't want to pay more. I don't know what I'm getting for this amount, and you know, at least in its entirety. But 30 sounds better than 50, so I'll take it. And so a lot of people are going to buy it, and then out comes, you know, some of the smaller stuff, a couple of big expansions. It's all great and everything, but would people buy as much stuff once the creation kit and all the stuff that you can actually use to make mods more easily comes out? Because one of the beauties to me about a lot of the Elder Scrolls games, at least, is that they out comes the creation kit. People do crazy mods, and I don't even think about expansions necessarily. They're not what make the game for me. It's the mods that make the game, and I wouldn't pay for an expansion if I can get all this stuff that's made by the community. But they haven't put that out for Fallout yet. So you can get mods, but they're like, people have to work very, very hard to create the mods, whereas they're not going to have to once that kit comes out.
But I don't know that a lot of people would say they wouldn't buy an expansion if they had access to mods. I think it definitely drives sales down, but I think having something, in my opinion, like when I see like a first party something like, hey, I'm going to get a new area, I'm going to get new quests, like even if there's mods going on that I'm messing around with, I still want what do they want me to do next? And at this point, they've only announced what they say is $40 worth of the $50 season pass, and there's more to come, and it's going to be more than $50 worth. It's going to be more than $60. Is like
Something like that.
Their statement was like, it's on not only 50, it's 60.
Buy now for $30 and you get a $60 value.
Yeah, exactly.
In just 2 small installments.
But if you want someone to pay 50 for it, I want like a $75 value. I want something that's bigger than 60.
Well, so if Far Harbor
Fahaba.
is going to be their big, I mean, you're saying essentially if 60 or 70, so we've got what, $10 left to play with?
Yep.
You said it was 5 and 10, so 15 and then 25.
Right. So we're at 50.
Okay.
Is that how maths work?
That is how maths work. So we don't have that much.
Wait, we're at 40.
We're at 40. Yeah. $20.
See, I knew it didn't
You
sound
did.
right.
You convinced me with your confidence.
Yes, thank you.
$20. So that's room enough for either another one of these, like I don't care, or they could have another expansion level.
Yeah.
One.
So they're saying like it's pretty big stuff. I assume it'd be another Fahaba, so people could go and get more quests and have another place to explore.
Yeah, this is supposed
shall
to be
see.
just like the spring drop.
Yeah.
Because they're all coming within...
It's actually what men's
Sounds
balls.
like fecal matter. is-
Within 3 months, right? Like one's coming in it's like March, April, May.
Yeah.
Is when the pieces of DLC are hitting. So then theoretically they'd at least do an autumn drop. So I
Fall
can...
drop.
Yeah. Do you think you'll get enough content out of it to basically be another Fallout though? Because $60 worth of stuff, or 50, so it's down a little bit, but that's still basically the cost of another game.
It's true, but I don't think making robots is part of another game for me.
Not if you buy it now, though. It's only $30 to buy it now. That's only half a
It's only
game.
half a game.
Again, unless they really shake it up, like Far Harbor, I admit I'm curious about that. Aside from that, I don't even know if Far Harbor is enough to get me back in Fallout 4 right now.
You're
You're
just feeling the
just too
fatigue.
into the primal and everything else.
Nothing that they've offered so far has changed the gameplay significantly enough that I feel like it would be re-enterable right now. You know what I mean? You don't want to go back to that and just have the same experience in a different place. You can only explore so much before you're like, all right, I saw it.
Well, and especially in our line of work, like it's like there's always something else. It's not like this is the only thing you're focused on right now, as opposed to like this is the only game you have to play. There's always something else to be playing or something else to be doing.
We are spoiled in that there's always something new fighting for our attention.
Yeah.
And most of those Fallout games, all of the Bethesda games, really, I play them until I'm just done with the world. So that's the issue now. Is if these had even come out like a couple months ago, or closer to the release of the game, if they had started dropping the DLCs in, that would have prolonged it for me. But now I've played the game. I played it to death as far as my interest was concerned, which was I played it a lot. I mean, I've got lots of hours sunk into it.
Do you have an estimate?
I should check Steam. It'll tell me. But I played it enough that I got to where the world was no longer new.
But you bring up an interesting point. If they had dropped these DLCs closer to the release, so one of the things that Bethesda did that garnered them a lot of goodwill with gamers was not developing any of the DLC, having no clue when they released the game. We will think of it afterward, which means that the DLC is coming out a lot later. Would you have been fine if they had said, Fallout 4 is coming out next month, we already have the DLCs planned and ready to go in the months after Fallout 4 comes out? Because then it sounds like, well, you should have just given it to me as part of the release. That's what a lot of people
Yeah,
think.
then it sounds like it's cut out of the actual release. I like what Bethesda did in philosophy. I like that they said, we'll make the game, let's focus on the game and make a complete experience. And then once that's done, we'll figure out what we can do to add to it and build from there. So like philosophically, I approve a great deal. Where it falls down practically is that it does end up coming out a lot later, although I think they're doing the right thing in terms of building some smaller things that are going to be a little bit faster for them to start getting things out next month at least. And then using the rest of that next couple months to build the big one. So that's helpful, but...
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
How many hours?
I was going to say I have 92 hours.
Okay, not
in
bad.
Fallout 4.
Not bad, that's okay.
Think of how much time you could have spent with your children.
That was after they were
92
asleep.
hours.
Thank you. I don't play Fallout when my kids are running around.
But you
I don't
could-
want to explain to Eli why that guy's head just exploded, okay?
You play different games than you guys.
You could have been watching them sleep.
Yeah.
All right, that's
You
creepy.
could have been cherishing them.
I mean, I can cherish them much more from downstairs at my computer after spending time with them and loving them. You know, I just let all the love out in the time that we're together, and then I have to recharge.
Right, because you're out of love for your children.
No, I wouldn't put it that way.
Yeah, what else we got going on in the video game news?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to read this.
Oh, you're going to read a thing? Sweet, I'm going to eat a nature box.
Evasion.
I'm gonna figure out how this thing works. Damn Apple products. Here we go.
Hold on, we'll just sit here and watch you being awkward.
I got it. Don't worry about it. The patch is brought to you by NatureBox.com, the AAA of snacks. When hunger strikes, don't eat that half-eaten bag of chips. When between the couch cushions that taste like salt and sadness, I think is where we were going with that. You found a bag of chip. Look, if you find crap in your couch cushions, don't eat that. That's just a general rule. All of NatureBox's snacks. No, you're good. Don't worry about it. Don't choke. We're fine. Be prepared with smart and delicious snacks from NatureBox, and don't store them between your couch cushions. All of NatureBox's snacks are made with high-quality ingredients you can trust. Trying to eat healthier doesn't mean giving up on flavor and eating snacks that taste like twigs and dirt. Choose from over 100 unique and tasty options like sriracha roasted cashews and mini Belgian waffles. Or fill your snack profile and get personalized recommendations based on your preferences. The best part? NatureBox delivers right to your door. Spend more time getting to the next game level and less time searching through the couch cushions or loving your children. Really, just spend some time loving your children. Why? That's not creepy. Fuel your game engine with healthy snacks for once. Visit naturebox.com/thepatch and get 50% off your first box now. Head to naturebox.com/thepatch right now to slay your hunger dragon with the sword of nutrition. That's naturebox.com/thepatch. Go there and get 50% off your first box of delicious personalized snacks sent direct to your doorstep.
I'm impressed that Ryan can manage to sound creepy even while he's talking about nutrition.
It's nutritional, and slay dragons, and don't find couch chips, and love your children.
So freaking good.
Those are the messages that I would just like to send out there.
cranberry pepita crisps. I got up here, I was like, what is this shit? And I ate it, and now this is my bag now, so
And now
everybody
and
just...
you
we
hooked
can't
Meg
get to it.
forever.
Yeah. No joke.
All right.
Everybody leave me alone. After the show, they're going to
I
be like,
want to be alone now.
Meg, you want to just shut up?
Leave me with chips.
Ah.
Get out of my sight. All right. What else is going on in news? You guys,
You have a list, right?
I do. I'm just looking through it, seeing if there's any of these that look fun. Anything look good? What else have
Is
I
there
played
anything we can
recently?
fight about? I like fighting with you.
You like fighting with me? What else did I play? Oh, the Hitman beta. Let's talk about the Hitman beta for a
No,
minute.
is that the one we had the creative kills?
The
That
creative
Denise,
kills?
That Denise was in?
Yes, Denise,
Yeah.
Michael
I
Jones's
did watch
mother.
it.
She is bloodthirsty.
Yeah. Well, she's hilarious. He
She's
says
hilarious.
things when we're hanging out that I'm like, oh, my mom would slap me in the mouth. And my mom is cool. And my mom would slap me in the mouth. And she's like,
If you ever have heard Michael Jones talk, it's 100% influenced by his mother.
Oh, absolutely.
That is where he gets it.
I swear, she's the one who taught him.
Yeah, absolutely. And she pulls no punches in like, oh, kill that guy.
No,
oh, get
I
it.
love it. We were at dinner, and she was talking about towels in her house, how everybody has their own towels. And she was like, I give the boys the towels. You touch my towels, I'll break your fucking hands. And I was like, I love you. I want to be you as a mother. Please. She's amazing.
That's what I'm getting from child raising is you really have to go one direction or the
Yep.
other. From
I wanna be
observing
like-
like Jeff and then like what happened with Michael. It's either you just go all the way into like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say fucking shit and cunt and whatever I want in front of them.
Cannot believe you just said cunt. I'm so impressed.
I was going down the like swear
Right,
jar
yeah.
words
Okay.
from off topic.
So impressed.
Ashley's eyes got really wide.
Ashley
Let's-
doesn't like that word.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was the
It's
swear
okay.
jar words from off topic.
Right.
And
You got to go.
you got to go all the way in
nuts, or
and
you
just
gotta do
and
nothing?
say it, and then
Right.
they learn not to say it by not wanting to be anything
See,
like you.
Yeah.
We have a rule with Bernie's boys, which is that they can hear swear words. They're allowed to hear them. They just can't say them. So it's like, it's purely a one directional thing. So far it works out because it means that we don't have to wash our language quite as much, which is awesome. But they also don't talk dirty. To be fair, though, they're naturally good boys.
Uh-huh.
One of them tends to spend way too much in Team Fortress 2. I found out, by the way, who is
Spy check.
supporting Valve. It's Teddy.
It's just him.
It's
He's
just
got all
Teddy.
the hats.
He has all the hats. We had one where we're like, did he just spend $7 on a hat? And he's like, did I? And we're like, what hat was it? He goes, I don't know. He didn't even wear it that long.
My
He
vast
just wanted to have
collection
it.
of
He
hats.
saw it and he said that needs to go in my closet.
Yeah, we had to institute like an allowance system where it's like you're gonna have to work this off. You can't just like keep buying all this stuff because he just sees stuff he likes and buys it. He is why microtransactions work.
He's like
What?
Tony Stark. I must have it. Buy it. Store it.
Yep. Well, that's like when the Game Kids, they did an episode of Game Kids with Bertie's kids where they opened a bunch of lunch boxes. And they were like, do you think it's worth it? And they were like, yeah, totes. And I was like, yeah, because you didn't earn any of that money that you're
Oh, yeah.
opening all the lunch boxes with.
Yeah, we asked him. We're like, how much do you think a house costs? And they're like, I don't know, $10,000. And we're like, oh, you're so sweet. So they they're young. They don't have any sort of idea like what money means because they don't have to yet. They've never had to like buy a car or a tank of gas or anything like that. So scale just isn't a thing for them. So for them, like buying, a hat or buying an entire game, like it doesn't mean anything to them.
It's like
So
the
we're-
Bluths with the bananas.
I gotta admit, I'm
$10.
terrified of raising children in a world of microtransactions. I'm gonna
Kanye
be
West
so
is always
poor.
tweeting about his kid buying stuff.
Dude, he's $53 million in the hole.
And
that
it's
could be
because of
me.
the North.
Probably because of microtransactions.
Yeah.
North got him.
How did he spend his way through the Kardashian fortune too?
No, Patrick found like a loophole in his tweet or something.
Oh.
Patrick is a Kanye West tweet expert.
Patrick, what's that loophole? We gotta get
No,
Patrick on that loophole.
no.
Patrick is
No.
not in the.
All right,
Patrick's
Patrick's
not
not
here.
here.
We'll never know.
All right, Patrick has left us. We have no Kanye.
He's reading
expert now.
Kanye's tweets right now.
Though speaking of Kanye West,
Yes.
didn't he just announce a game?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
it's
a game
weird.
dev.
It's like Only Once or something like that, and it's about his mother's journey to heaven.
But also, isn't it also the Kardashians' father as well?
Maybe he's DLC.
Maybe he just wore the. Oh. I knew he wore a shirt with him on it. I'm not very up on my Kanye. I'm not gonna lie. The monitor's gone out. It's given up on me.
I saw some footage of the game because he announced it at I guess like his album launch or something like that, and showed off the game, and it's very beautiful pastels, has that sort of like hand drawn look to it. I would compare it more closely to something like, oh gosh, what's the game we played for Game Club? It was hand drawn.
Oh, here it is.
Here we go. So it looks.
All right.
Very
It looks
art
pretty.
and pretty and cool and everything. But what I'm not seeing is how I play this game at all.
I don't understand what it is.
That's such a perfect segue into Firewatch. Are we
It
far enough
is.
into the show that we can
No.
talk about Firewatch yet?
Save it.
Damn it.
You gotta make it a few more minutes.
Only once, the game.
Only
there we
one.
go. I mean, apparently people didn't clap loud enough when he showed this, and so he made them watch it again.
Oh.
You don't think he's gonna like Phil Fish this, do you? Like, that's it, I'm done. Wait,
Well,
is that the right guy?
he was like-
That's his life. Is Phil Fish is like a mini Kanye.
His whole thing was he got upset about. He's like, y'all react like this shit's easy. This shit's difficult. It's like,
Watch it again.
welcome to every game ever made.
Yep.
Even the games that we've shit all over and made fun of take a lot of work to make.
Speaking of video games and famous musicians, Lupe Fiasco beat, is it Daigo, the Street Fighter champ at Street Fighter?
What?
I will Google the story. I saw the headline. I thought, I love me
What's
some
a
Street
Hold
Fighter.
What's a Lupe Fiasco?
Oh, shut up, Dad.
I is that a
He has some
Hip
great
hop?
music.
Rapper Lupe Fiasco beat the world's
Rhythm and
best
jazz?
Street Fighter pro.
Thank
What?
you. His name is Daigo.
Wasn't there were some allegations that people think maybe that was rigged.
Was it rigged? Who
That's-
cares? Are you not entertained?
If you were the world's best Street Fighter pro, would you willingly throw a match
Yeah,
against
Daigo.
Lupe Fiasco?
Depends on how much money you put in your pocket.
Daigo
He make it rain for
Umehara.
you before the competition? There you go. He
Fiasco-
came in with a bottle of Cristal.
Dad, Fiasco only won 3-2. So it's not even like it was a blowout. Like
close.
you threw it. It was 3-2.
I mean, that would be the throw it. You throw it 3-2. You don't throw it 3-0.
It says, this is from the Polygon article. Viewers may judge for themselves. The entire match is above. That's if the results are true or not. Longtime Street Fighter fans and just about anyone who understands the difference between elite competitors and enthusiasts in anything find it hard to believe the world's most famous and successful competitor in his sport could lose straight up to a celebrity interloper. It's not to say the match and its aftermath isn't entertaining. Entertaining.
Entertaining.
Well, it could
Right
be
in the taint.
entertaining.
Entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, don't you remember the
Are
time
you not
George Clooney?
entertained?
Are you not entertained? Oh, here's their match.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of thing happens all the time, right? Like,
Well, sort of. There's the thing with fighting games that happens with fighting games in particular, where a lot of times someone who's never played a game can beat someone who is acquainted with the game because they're just so freaking unpredictable. They don't know what they're doing, so there's no way you can predict what they're doing and
Spam
protect against
kick.
it.
Spam kick.
you're
Yeah,
used to playing
you just,
someone
like,
that has
find
actual
everything.
strategies. Well,
But-
he was actually doing moves there, though.
Yeah, yes. That's like a valley though. An expert will beat someone who's never played every single time. Like
It's
that's
true.
there. There's
An
that sort
outlier.
of yes. It is. It's like you come
played
back up
5
out of the
games.
valley of noob defeat into constant victory. But someone who's played it is going to do things against an expert that you'd think they could call and protect against immediately. So maybe Fiasco just plays the shit out of Street Fighter.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to stop being a fiasco and start being a Street Fighter player.
Dad.
What's a fiasco?
Daigo is.
He's going to just call himself Lupe. Is it Ken Kutaragi?
Is that
There's a no. Well, it's not. I don't think
There's
it's
a Street
Ken
Fighter guy
Kutaragi.
named Cooter?
It's like I've never heard Kutaragi before. It's like the dirty form of karate. I do Kutaragi.
Sorry, Ken Kutaragi is the former chairman of SCEI.
Got it.
So I was, but Lupe Fiasco played as Ken in Street Fighter.
Right.
So it was not a great chain of references, and I'm very sorry. I'd like to apologize to everyone, but now you know what I was trying to do.
Yes. And Daigo is one half of like the most epic Street Fighter match of all time. We talked about it once upon a time. RIP leaderboard on there. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, check it out. Street Fighter matches are great. Evo's wonderful to watch, and Jamie Lee Curtis was there this past year, so
And
She
anytime,
shows up at these things all the
her
time.
kid,
well,
it's
her
right?
because her
plays.
kid, yeah, her
Oh,
kid
okay.
loves it.
and then she does cosplay a lot, which is
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, apparently, yeah. Once people start talking about framing, I tune out.
Framing?
Yeah, well, like when they, and I
Like
don't know if it
walls?
happens as much now as it did, when it was like a constant FPS. But yeah, they talk about like, this move takes this many frames, and if you can detect it in this many frames and counter it, then you can get out of this in, X many frames, whatever. Like people would go by, they knew the number of frames every move took to pull off,
Holy
and
crap.
how many frames they could be countered for. Like it
Watch-
was crazy stuff.
It is. Watch an AGDQ or an SGDQ. I mean, those guys sit on the couch and talk about, like, all right, this is a frame perfect trick, and then this is like a frame perfect trick followed by a frame perfect trick, and this animation takes 16 frames that we're going to save by skipping it. Like, they know everything, and it's incredible.
There's a certain level of gaming that I think if I was aware of would ruin it for me.
Really?
That's too far.
I don't think so. I think it's all about finding the right game. Gavin and I sort of dipped our toes into speedrunning with Aladdin and started looking up strategies for how to quick kill Jafar and things like that. And honestly, like, I've loved that game since it came out, since I was a tiny child playing it. And I could play that game 100 times and not be sick of it. So when I'm looking up how to quick kill Jafar, absolutely, that is a game I'm not going to get sick of. But if it's a game that I'm like lukewarm on, also, I felt that way about like A Link to the Past. I love. It's like a 2-hour speed run. If you fuck it up in 1 hour and 46 minutes in, which it's not actually that long, that you've already messed the record at that point. But still, I would be furious. And I love that game. But it's just not about finding the right game.
I don't think there's any single game I love enough to optimize it to that point.
There's a certain point where, even with games that I really enjoy, and this is the same reason I don't have a lot of 1,000-pointed achievement games. If you take something to that level, you're making it, and this is going to sound weird for me, more of a job than a game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't want another video game.
When
I don't want the game to feel like a job. I want it to just be a game. I
Yep.
want to just enjoy it.
No, I agree with you completely. Back in the day, I had no problem with playing games and like going down the list and getting all the achievements, and it was fine. Like I didn't mind when games felt like work because for me it was just at the time part of playing them. But at this point, I'm old and I'm jaded and I got all these other things to do with my time. And if this game is not, if I'm not enjoying it, I'm not going to stick around for it. I feel a lot less pressure to complete games now. If I get 3/4 of the way through and I'm just not enjoying it, I just won't finish it. And
That's
that's
true.
going to be okay.
Yep.
That younger me would hate current me so much for having all of these uncompleted stories. But now I would rather play something that I will enjoy minute to minute than stick with something that I'm going to hate, which is also why I'm not a professional at I'm not professional level at any games anymore. Like that was fine for a time. Now it's not.
Yeah, and as you kind of what you're saying, when you're younger too, the lack of funds makes it so if you bought that game, well, I'm committed to this game now. This is going to be my life whether I like it or not. I might as well make a game of doing every little minute detail of it. But once you get to the point where that's not required anymore, it's like,
I wonder if that's a thing that will change too now that maybe I just didn't know enough about PC gaming when I was younger, but I really only knew about retail level titles that cost retail level money, and that was $50 until 360 and PS3 came along and all the prices raised to 60. But every game was $50. Now I could go on Steam and get a game for $5 or $10 and get plenty of hours out of that. So I don't even know if I would do completionist stuff now if I was a kid, because the money goes a lot further.
and there's free options.
Yeah.
All the free to play. Isn't even things like Knights of the Old Republic is now free to play, right?
I think so.
They just they've got that whole series of expansions coming out, but I think the first one you can play for free. I don't think it's done a lot to motivate business back to. It is Knights of the Old Republic, right? That's what the MMO is.
Yeah, play free now. Old Republic.
Old Republic.
Yeah, not Knights of the Old Republic. Sorry, it's Old Republic.
Old Republic, right? Okay.
Star Wars game naming conventions sometimes get a little bit much for me.
I get lost in that. Someone is remaking the original KOTOR though. I think using
Yeah,
the Unreal Engine.
Yeah, a bunch of fans are, which is really cool.
It's actually one of those games where I look at the graphics and it has become a barrier to entry for me. Where I think about it, I'm like, that's not pretty enough.
It's just not there
Oh,
anymore.
I don't understand that at all. Gavin has the same thing where he'll be like, I can't look at it. It's too ugly. Look at these terrible graphics. And I'm like, it's part of the experience.
That's not part of the experience.
It's not. For me, it's not part of the experience at all. When I played those games the first time, they were cutting-edge graphics, and I thought they were beautiful. But I can't put myself in that mindset anymore. So if I don't have that sense of nostalgia attached to it, then I'm already lost.
Well, I guess I feel that way about games. Well, I don't know. See, I'm like a huge fan of like a Super Nintendo graphics. Like you can give me a Super Nintendo game and I still think that is pretty. I still think like, oh, this looks great and I'm all about it. But I guess I drop off when it comes to like Nintendo 64 because it's like all the weird sharp polygons that they were like, look at us. Like I drop off there, but before that, I still think like, oh, awesome.
I think for me, the shift is with 3D stuff. Like a lot of 2D games, pixel art, that sort of thing seems like its own style.
Yeah.
And ages better in a way. I mean, it doesn't upscale very well, but I look at it, I can tell what things are meant to be, and that's all fine. And I don't judge it nearly as much as I judge 3D games that are super jaggy.
It just, when I go back and play those now, it betrays the memories I have of it at the time.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like it
I
ruins
remember
them
them,
a little
yeah.
bit. Like it spoils the memory to a degree, which is one of the reasons that I really like HD remakes. Is I like the idea of new people who didn't play it, who don't have that sense of nostalgia, being able to play a game and experience it the way I experienced it the first time, and just have that from the get-go. And also, it's fun to be able to look at the HD remake and play and be like, what? They didn't update anything. This looks exactly like what I played.
Hey, you, entire team of people, make this game look like my memory says it looks.
Well, that's what people do because you put your memories in these like whatever graphics you think are the most cutting edge at the time. But I do think there is something to be said for games that are stylized. Segue.
Hey.
Firewatch. Come on.
Hey.
Yeah, all right.
I think we
442.
can now.
I
All right,
feel
hang on.
like
We're good. Okay.
I got one more thing to read, and then you can Firewatch.
Okay.
All right.
All right. This patch is also brought to you by TrunkClub.com. Trunk Club takes the hassle out of shopping by finding the best clothes for you and your style. You'll look and feel amazing and will always have the perfect clothes for the season. At TrunkClub.com/thepatch, you answer simple questions about your style, preferences, and size and are assigned an expert stylist. Your stylist will handpick clothes from the best premium brands. Just approve of what you like and send back what you don't like. And just like that, a trunk arrives on your doorstep, filled with hand-picked clothes that are perfect for you. Try them on, keep what you like, and easily return what you don't in their prepaid trunk. Trunk Club is not a subscription service. Almost didn't say that. You only pay for the clothes you keep from your trunk. No hidden charges, just great clothes. Get started today, and Trunk Club will style you for free. Plus free shipping both directions. So what they send you and what you have to ship back, if anything, free. You only pay for the clothes that you keep, and to take advantage, go to trunkclub.com/thepatch. That's trunkclub.com/thepatch for a trunk filled with clothes you'll love wearing.
Yeah.
Okay, we can talk
All right,
about
Firewatch.
Firewatch.
Okay, let's
Great.
talk about Firewatch.
Firewatch for me.
And just to preface this, I don't think we'll necessarily spell out the ending, but we really can't talk about this game without referring to the ending.
Well, hang on.
Spoilers.
So here's
if you're
the
spoiler sensitive, now is when
We're
you
gonna
can-
spoil
Let's lay out a
There's
few
no-
things real quick, and then
Sensitive.
we'll have a hard line where it's like,
All
okay,
right.
stop listening. So Firewatch is a very dialogue-driven game from what I've seen so far. So I played through about an hour of it. We have a Let's Watch that'll be coming out on the Let's Play channel. And it's a lot about your dialogue. Well, it starts off with a series of questions that I'm assuming will be used in some context later in the game. I've already seen a couple of them. Yeah, there's a bit of dong that shows up real early on. I'm just going to throw that out there. A sketched dong. But I know
yeah.
that was the first thing that I clearly was like, okay, that was motivated by this choice that I made. So you make a series of choices. There's a very
It's like a text-based game.
Very
It's
text-based
very up,
options.
and then
very
it gets you at the beginning.
It's a little down. It's a little sad.
Yeah,
You know,
it is.
gets you in the
It
feels.
is up.
That
Absolutely.
explains how you end up as a Firewatch person. And then it's a lot of just kind of very, at least so far as I've played, very linear paths. It's a lot more about the dialogue between you and Delilah, who is the person at the other end of the radio. If you like that kind of, from what I've seen, the snappy kind of dialogue is really good. Like, it's very funny, very engaging. And the story at the beginning is very sad, but is very touching and well told, really. But at this point, we can probably get
Wait,
to
I'll
spoilers.
just say before you go,
Mm-hmm.
people who are going to leave, worth the money, yes, no.
It's about a 3-hour experience
No.
from what I've heard.
I say yes, you say no. You have no clue yet because you haven't finished the game.
It was...
Now you may leave.
Wait, how much was it?
It's
$19.99.
Is it $19.99?
Or $20.
I think it's like $18.
I wanted
something
to
like
say
that.
it was $18, yeah.
And
Pretty much.
it's about a 3-hour game. In fact, one of the big things that came up, and we didn't discuss this earlier, but it's a perfect segue into discussing the game itself, is that someone went on the developer forums and was lamenting. They were trying to debate whether they should get a refund because they beat the game in the amount of within
Under
2
the
hours.
threshold, yeah.
So they could just tell Steam they wanted a refund, no questions asked, because it was $18 and it wasn't that long, and they could do so much else with that $18. But on the other hand, they really, really liked the game and they wanted to support the developer, so they didn't know what to do. By the way, that is like that's the shittest possible argument. It's like, you completed the game, you loved the game. That's not what refunds are for.
No, absolutely. And actually the developer came back and responded to him and said, look, this is how we made the game. We all took price cuts for our salaries. We're all working. This is a complete passion project for everyone involved. And
a huge risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you need that $18, by all means, you have my blessing. Refund it. If you don't need it, if you felt like you really enjoyed it and you want to support us, we really appreciate it. She was just, it was the classiest response
And
to.
they even rounded it out with, and next time the game's on sale, maybe buy it for your friend.
Yeah, like give
send it to
somebody else
as
the
a gift.
experience.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Ollie Moss worked on this project, one of my favorite video game artists. I own a ton of his work, love him. I have been excited since Campo Santo formed about this game. I do not enjoy the new trend of game experiences that aren't adventures. I don't want to play a game. I play a game for escapism. I don't play it for realism. And I feel like that's where this game goes. It like builds you up to like epic adventure, and then it's like
Abandoned ship now.
No,
yeah.
Spoilers.
Well,
You know
we said it a while ago.
Yeah.
You know what this game is? This game has gone home.
It is.
This
I
game
can
has
see
gone
that.
home where you're expecting things to jump out of the shadows and you're getting all these indications that there's this really big thing happening. And in the end, it's just a personal fucking journey.
It is, and I think Firewatch is even more gone homier than gone home in that you feel like you're finding physical, like things that are along the way that are like, wow, we are pointing to a real mystery here. I'm getting so stoked. And then it's all just like, sometimes in life, you're paranoid, and you
sometimes
make
in life,
things
you should
up.
go take care of your wife.
Yeah.
Wait.
How could you love me and
How-
then tell me to take care of my wife?
How could you get to that? Okay, yeah, now I'm confused because
Okay, right?
all right, so the trailer really builds it as sort of a mystery.
Right.
They do strongly imply that there's something going on because their main trailer rounds up with, well, if you're not in your station, then who is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Somebody's
that's
in
a
there.
mystery. That's something you have to establish.
Right.
Even so far as I've played, you come back and find that your station's been ransacked while you were not there, and there was a stranger on a hill. So that's going
Right.
nowhere?
Yep.
It is absolutely going nowhere. So you get a lot of really cool indications. I loved the mystery buildup where one of the first things that happens is you have to go and tell these teenage girls who are camping to not be setting off a bunch of fireworks in a goddamn forest because it's going to start fire. Stupid little bitches.
During high fire danger season.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like, come on, girls.
They're skinny dipping and shooting off fireworks. My kind of people.
And then so they take off and then they go missing. Like
Right.
they've gone missing and you're the last person to have seen them, and so it's like that's the first part of the mystery, and then these other things start happening, and it's very there's this whole fenced off area you can't get in. It turns out is like an experiment area, and you're like, oh no, some people have been studying us. It gets really, really crazy, and then it all goes away, and it's like, nope, it's super normal, and you've been running away from your life.
So everything just resolves.
And the
Everything
thing
resolves.
is, like, it's so, like, I get the artistic risk, and I respect it, but it's just not fun. You know what I mean? It's not fun. That's not fun for me.
Well,
you get these girls, you're the last one to have seen them alive, then Delilah lies and says, you never saw them. So it's like, oh shit, and then you find out somebody's following you and they can prove you saw them. So you're like, oh, now we're really fucked.
Yeah, like someone's been listening to your conversations.
Right.
And it's these science people.
Right, and they write down like how susceptible you are to manipulation and things like that. Like, it's very cool, right? And then you're literally walking somewhere and Delilah's like, hey, they found the girls, everything's fine. And you're like, well, how would you resolve a mystery?
It's like they stole a tractor and got themselves arrested. They're cool.
Yeah. What? Why?
And also, like, the whole science thing, not a thing.
And it doesn't make any sense that it's not a thing. I would just like to say, how did this dude who's running the science stuff, how did he get all the science stuff? Never explained.
No. They were, it was in a note somewhere, like, there were actual researchers there. They were doing environmental research. The plotting on the ground with the soil, it actually was soil studies.
Oh.
And they were gone until August, so this dude was just using all their stuff.
Oh. Still lame.
But it ends up being like a parallel story of a dude who is like hiding up in the mountains and he's like running from his life.
Right.
And you know, ends up like getting mixed up in this whole thing that's not a thing, it turns out. And then you have to go.
Yeah. And then you never...
Oh, and also the forest is on fire.
Yeah, the forest is on fire. Forest fire happens.
Is that not a problem?
You gotta escape the forest. That's like
Should
the
you
end
as
of
the
the game.
fire warden not deal with that?
Well, the end of the game is you escaping from the fire. Because
Oh.
they sometimes like let fires burn out, and you know, in forests they like let
Sure.
them burn or whatever.
Like in an interesting way, it does play with your expectations because we would expect a game to turn into this crazy
Yep.
conspiracy and have all these larger than life crazy things happening. And so we get really into it, and it turns out that it's really nothing, and it's just a story of life.
It just
Yeah.
really is life.
And
It's just honest. It's
So
true.
it's interesting, but at the same time, I got to the end and I was like, well, okay.
All right, let me
that's-
ask you this.
okay.
So, again, my experience with it so far, it seems like the game is very focused on the dialogue between the character and Delilah, and that stuff is pretty interesting and amusing. Is that enough of a game just to have the comedic interactions?
Well, you said
No.
it wasn't worth the 18. I said it was, even though I'm upset with the game.
Yeah.
Because I think, and this is, I think maybe a lot of people won't agree with, but I'm trading on the promise of Campo Santo. I want this game to be successful because I think it does a lot of interesting things. I think the dialogue is really cool. Builds a really intriguing story. And even though it doesn't execute the ending in a way that I thought was worth it or worth like the emotional build up, I can't wait to see what they do next, and I don't want people to count them out as a game development studio because of one ending.
Do you think that the ending of this game was motivated by time and money?
I hope not, but
Or
I
art.
get that feeling, but I hope not.
I don't think it was. I think it was all a very deliberate choice to play with expectation and play with tropes, and in the end, say like sometimes you're just disappointed.
Yeah, but that's not what
No,
I...
I really think that's one of the themes.
No, it is. It absolutely is. I agree with you 100%. I don't know if that's where the theme came from, was like this idea, but or if it was like, shit, we don't have enough money to finish whatever. But I bet the more likely story is what you're saying, that this was their completely deliberate choice. I do think disappointment is one of the themes of the game, and I respect that as an artistic choice, but as someone who's playing the game, it sucks.
I do feel like if that was where it was going to go, then they did a great job of doing a trailer for the game that they didn't make.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that would be my expectation with completing the game, is that trailer sold me on the idea of a mystery.
Right. It's a very like, the whole time you're like, ooh, the twist is a coming. Like,
Yeah,
what's
I was
the
waiting
twist?
for it. I was waiting for the discovery of what
Yep.
the conspiracy was.
And you come up with all these ideas. I was convinced. I'm actually crazy. My wife's not. She doesn't have Alzheimer's. I'm crazy, and this is something I've done for myself.
schizophrenic
Yeah,
or-
something's going on.
Like you're having an episode.
Right.
I was fully expecting Delilah to not exist.
Right. Well, because you one night very early on in the game, you radio Delilah, but you talk to her as if she's your wife.
And you hear your wife.
Right, and you hear your wife talk back to you. So I'm like, ooh, I'm so delusional. And then it turns out like, nah, you're not.
That was a dream.
Why? That's
So,
not fun.
who ransacked your firehouse?
Well, I mean, we can tell you.
The hermit who's been hiding up
Oh,
in
the hermit
thing
guy.
and-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, it's fine. There are a couple of cool references in the game. I don't know if you guys picked up on. They are fans of Gone Home, so I can see it being a huge influence. In fact, the dad's book in Gone Home is in one of the supply caches.
Oh, cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the the accidental whatever it is in there, and there's also a jacket or a sweater or something from Last of Us. Is like you can see,
that's
so there's
cool.
is just somewhere in the game.
But-
So there's some cool references. But does that mean that the game takes place in the BioShock universe?
Well,
Because Gone Home is theoretically loosely tied to the BioShock universe. Not officially as far as
loosely.
2K is concerned,
Right.
but Fulbright, indicated.
Like, oh,
so.
yeah,
So-
well, it's the same universe.
I mean, spoilsies for BioShock, but every universe is a BioShock universe.
Oh,
Only as long as there's a girl in a lighthouse.
There's always a man and there's always a lighthouse.
always. So, okay, despite that, so
Yes.
you think the game itself is not worth $18, but the promise
do.
of the developer is.
I had 2 nights of enjoyment with it because I only played chunks, played like a couple hours and then put it down or whatever. And I had a good time discussing the game with Gavin. I think that's worth $18 to me. If I were in college, not worth $18. You know what I mean? I get the idea that for some people it's not going to be worth $18,
No.
but for me, I felt it was.
This is very much games as art.
Yes.
And sometimes you overpay for art.
Well, I guess that would be an interesting question. Is it worth $18 as a short story?
I mean, it's worth $18 as a piece of art.
Okay.
I would not bill it as a game.
Yeah.
I mean, the experience I've had so far was very gamish. I got
Yes.
to make some choices. I threw a boombox in a lake.
Oh,
That
you
was
threw
cool.
the- I
You
stole
threw
their
the
whiskey.
Oh, we dunked
I
the
just-
Oh, we stole the whiskey, too.
I stole the whiskey. I left the boombox.
Yeah, I love the boom.
I will say, I enjoyed the game and I enjoyed like the world and like walking around and stuff. But one of the things that stood out to me the most is actually how well you are driven through the world. I never got too lost. I never ended up clear across the map when I was supposed to be somewhere specific trying to do something. I felt like it guided me very gently, but I always ended up in the right place.
Without it feeling too linear, or did it feel
It didn't.
very...
It didn't feel linear. I felt like
Okay.
I could have gone off in a different direction and done whatever, but I
They-
didn't. I ended up in the right places,
They
and
made
I
a
felt
g-
like I just wandered there.
I disagree. I say it was very linear, and
Really?
that like going
Okay.
off, I'd be like, "What's over here?" And you'd hit like invisible walls a lot. So many invisible walls, in fact, that I was very frustrated by it. I was like, "I want to go over here. What's this thing? Conk!" Like you just cannot go that way. So I felt like sometimes it did the thing where I was like, "Ooh, I've stumbled on something. Oh, it's exactly where I'm supposed to be." It did do that sometimes, but I felt more often than not, it was like, you go here, day over, go here. Like it was very linear in that aspect.
Maybe I either didn't see the invisible walls or was guided so gently and willingly that I just didn't hit them.
There's something to be said for a game that makes you want to go to the next area without dilly-dallying around.
Yeah,
So-
it's not like there's any collectibles in the game. I wasn't finding, cassette tapes of crazy music anywhere, so there was no reason to really go poking around except to get to the next objective. And if anything, that would be a complaint with the game, is that there wasn't anything to drive you off the linear path.
Yes.
Well, and if there
The
was
story path.
nothing to be found off the linear path, there may be some reason for that. They
Yeah.
probably didn't want you to be doing those, but they probably could have done something with like the supply caches.
They did some and there's some I guess it's part of that disappointment thing where there's notes between the old park rangers and
Ron
stuff.
and Dave.
Yeah, Ron and
Ron and
Dave. And he's
Dave.
like, who's got a date tonight? He was all excited about dating Tina or whatever her stupid name is. But then I don't know anything.
don't go
about
anywhere.
Them, yeah, they don't go
All I
anywhere.
know is I ate his granola bar.
Oh, but the granola bars he loves.
I didn't read the note till afterwards, so I ate the granola bar. I was hungry. I was peckish.
Oop, sorry. It's fine.
Hey.
Yeah, so I'd say one of the reasons that I ended up playing the game, I was not interested by the premise of you're a dude in a park and you're gonna watch fires for a summer. That sounded super boring to me. And then all of a sudden, everyone on Twitter starts going, "The end, guys, the end," which probably pumped up my expectations for what the story really was more than anything else, because fucking John was all like, "Oh, this crazy ending! I can't
then
even
Tyler
believe
came
the ending."
over.
And then Tyler
Yeah.
was doing the same thing, and so I was expecting some big ending.
Yep. Tyler did the thing where he came over and he's like, guys, have you played it? And I was like, I got it. It's like, I'm going to play it tonight. He's like, oh, you God, there's a thing that happened. I was like, shut your mouth. And he kept talking. I was like, shut your mouth. Like, you're literally like, stop speaking. And he was just so moved that he kept talking.
Or do you think it was
And
that? Or was he just trying to like, oh man, I got suckered. Yeah, you should spend some money.
No.
Come on, you know.
It was more like, we should discuss it. Because why am I feeling so disappointed? Should I not feel so disappointed? And we talked about it after. But it was like, Tyler being all like, oh, got me. I was like, yes. Everything I've wanted from this game is coming true. It's going to be so good.
Yeah. So the only reason I ended up playing it was that crazy, like people being all crazy and surprised and outraged and excited, but not being able to say what was going on. And now I'm like, well, I could have done other things with the 3 hours. I guess it's probably better that I've had this experience so that now when people are like, Firewatch, I'll be like,
Hey, look.
Don't you talk to me about Firewatch.
Art leaves you with something. And this art left you with something.
It was disappointment, but it did
Disappointment.
leave me with something.
It made you feel.
I feel
How many games aim to leave you disappointed? Like that is a unique and bold decision for a game
If they
to
can
make.
make you feel
is.
disappointed but not underwhelmed
Unfulfilled.
by it,
I feel
that's an achievement maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never felt more like I should love a game despite my own disappointment more
See?
than this game because
You just want to love
That
it.
I do. I
means
want to love it
something.
so much.
It's
and I
pretty.
feel like I've betrayed Ollie by not liking the game as much as I wanted to.
Well, to be
It's
fair,
pretty.
the game is beautiful.
It's beautiful. I have
Beautiful.
nothing bad to say
It's
about
The
the
well
art
art.
written.
is stellar.
Gorgeous.
It's very well written. It's well performed.
It is.
At least.
I just didn't care for the direction of the story.
Okay. Well, sometimes stories don't end where you want them to.
It's true. And I feel that way when I read books and it's like, oh, like when I read The Hunger Games and it was like, see, this is what it's like to have PTSD. But it's like, I don't want to read Katniss with PTSD. She's
Yeah.
not fun to read.
No, then it's just tiring.
Yeah. And that's what I thought.
I skipped that last book altogether.
You should.
That's what I hear.
She was just a PTSD puddle by
You
the end of it.
pretty much. I mean, not that we're gonna
The
book
real
club here,
human
but
experience,
She's
yeah.
basically like, I went to bed, I woke up, I'm out again. I'm so excited to read that bitch.
I'm gonna go hide in a closet for a while.
Yeah. God.
That's what happens to
Thanks
real
for joining
heroes.
us on the patch.
The patch.
Everyone.
Anyway,
Well, thanks for joining us. We will be back next week. I think Game Club is not for another 2 weeks.
Game Club is first week of March.
You been doing
and
your homework?
Playing Life is Strange. Yeah, we got 5 episodes,
Played
bro.
episode 1 so far. That's
Nice
all I've
work.
gotten.
That's some progress.
A lot more fucks in that than I thought there were going to be, and a lot of me going, "Oh no, Eli, that's not." She said ducks.
Yeah.
No, just start the you can hear it, can't say it rule.
Right.
They feel like they're getting something by being able to hear it. Like
Oh.
they're like getting in on the secret a little bit.
Ah,
And it turns out it's just a lot easier.
that
Yeah.
makes so much sense.
So when
I
Eli's
understand
like,
now.
what did she say? Fuck. That's what she said. You yell it in his face.
Bye. Have a nice. See you next time.